breeze blowing, storm clouds moving in. Whatever's gonna happen, it's about to begin. I remember what the drunk donkey told me when he said, son, don't fear. Mike's where the page lies, it's about to begin. Then he's gonna tell you about the wind and the rain. Gonna tell you which way it's going, if it's gonna be a hurricane. Don't you worry about the news that they try to hide. Just click on Mike's page, Drunk Donkey Nationwide. Well, there'll always be some haters, but they don't understand that Mike's got a friend and 100,000 more across the land. Well, if you want to know it first and you want to know it right and you want to have time to plan, Drunk Donkey Nation tells your friend Mike, he's your man. Then he's gonna tell you all about the wind and the rain. Gonna tell you if it's gonna be a storm or if it's gonna be a hurricane. Don't you worry about the news others try to hide. Click on Mike's page, Drunk Donkey Nationwide. Yeah, here at Mike's page, Drunk Donkey Nationwide.
All right. Good morning, everybody. What's up? It's Monday. Oh, crap. Yes, Shelly. How's everybody doing? How was your weekend? Good, I hope. Got a little Buccaneers tonight. Looking forward to Monday Night Football. Are you ready for some football? Man, why don't they bring Hank back? I used to love the Hank song. Stapleton's on there now, I guess, and Snoop Dogg and Carrie Underwood, maybe. I don't even know who's on them anymore, but they're all right. But nothing was as good as Hank, in my opinion. Remember the three guys? Who were the three guys that used to do it too? Frank Gifford, Al Deardorff, and there was a third guy. I don't know. For three years, the same guy, three guys were doing Monday Night Football. Frank, Al, and I can't remember the other one. Can't remember. But anyway, we got tropics to talk about, and it's November 4th. Crazy, right? But we do. And we don't have dogs today. What's up, Michael Ross? Oh, wow, man. Tell me more, Michael. I had a friend that was a hurricane hunter, and then I lost my messenger with him, and I can't get back with him. But thank you, Mike. Frank Gifford, yeah, we know that was one of them. Howard Cosell, maybe. Madden. No dogs today, so we always bring out the classic. This is Emily's first stuffed animal. Emily's 18 years old, so the dog's 18 now. No nose because of Rusty. But we could pretend it was like the dogs, because the dogs always put their heads up. So let's pretend it's Hunter and Louie right here. This is what the boys do right here. This is about what they look like. They're just Frank, Al, and Dan. There you go. I remember that. So maybe the dogs will pop in. Julie took them down to the vet because their nails were too long, and we're both babies when it comes to trying to cut dogs' toenails. I can't do it. It's like grinding chalk on a chalkboard. Ugh. Not for me. Anyway, so I hope everybody's doing good. Let's say hello for a few minutes. This is our Daily Brew. Remember, if you're new to the page, welcome. We go over all the latest here, talk about all the scenarios, give you some thoughts and opinions. And most importantly, highly recommend following National Hurricane Center for official updates. National Hurricane Center linked all over my website here for official information. Spaghetti models can get quite confusing for some, and trust me, I agree. But you can learn a lot from spaghetti. You don't have to be Italian. So, anyway, what's up, Andres? Hey, my old Dodge. What's up, April, Louisiana, Milton Beach there, Betty, Pensacola, watching close. Cozumel. What's up, Jennifer? Looks like this might just scoot on by to your east there. Nothing quite yet to be worried about. Hurricane warnings are in the Caymans, though, so we're not going to downplay this. We have a lot of folks from around the Caribbean that watch us, so we're going to get into all that. Caleb from Baton Rouge. Wasn't that a Garth Brooks song, Calling Baton Rouge? Papa love mama. Joe from Why Mama. I always think of the Judds. I love that one song. He was sitting on with hood of his Ford. They had some good stuff. Tallahassee Karen, how's it going? Navari, what's up, Gina? Lake Placid, we got people. Key West. Oh, you're watching close, guaranteed. There's going to be some weather heading your way down in the Keys, no doubt about it. Tropical warnings, Ian. Yeah, buddy, it's going to pass off to your southwest, right? Going to get really close. Hopefully it doesn't get developed before it gets to you, but definitely today through tomorrow. Could be some heavy rain. It's getting juicy down there, so we're going to talk about that. We got folks in Jamaica watching. Big Bend odds, they're there. I'll admit there's outliers pointing that direction, but so far it's a tricky forecast because it's going to be strong and then it's going to weaken. Question is, how strong does it get before it weakens, and how much will it weaken? There's a lot of questions. Don't want to downplay anything. Classic battle between the hurricane models and the NHC. I got my skeleton down, Brittany. Heck yeah. It's all piled up in the garage, but at least the neighbors are happy. New Orleans is definitely in the mix, Mike. Hopefully it's weak before it gets there, but we'll get into all the different models here for sure. All right, so our Daily Brew here, brought to you by our good friends at ABC Fine Wine and Spirits. Been good friends of mine, family friends now for 6 years plus. Big supporters of our page here in Florida, so we appreciate it. I know a lot of our MWPs support them. That's how it all works, so we really appreciate that you all give them support as they help us out and do a lot of stuff. We're working on our special November 30th Neighbors Helping Neighbors end of season benefit that will be sponsored partly by ABC Fine Wine and Spirits. So we'll be paying attention to that. Nothing official yet. Just mark the date. November 30th, Saturday, the last day of hurricane season. We're going to have a party with a lot of money going to charity. Okay, good stuff. I'm really excited about that. So hopefully you have that date cleared on your calendar here for Tampa Bay Brewing Company. For sure. Here's what we're looking at. There it is. PTC. What is a PTC, by the way? It's called a potential tropical cyclone. So years ago, they couldn't issue watches and warnings until we actually had a named system. But it was silly because sometimes its watches and warnings could be within 24 hours. So now they have the potential cyclone, which means it's not official yet, but it's going to be official so they can issue watches and warnings. So we have tropical storm warnings up for Jamaica. We have hurricane warnings up for Caymans. That's going to extend towards Cuba, and probably the Keys will be getting something. I don't know if they're going to get watches or warnings. We'll see, but that's coming maybe at 11. But that's what it looks like. It's got some broad spin to it. You can see it trying to get organized. Ocean heat content down there, extremely warm. There's very light wind shear. This thing's got a chance to really intensify before Cuba. down there in the Caribbean. The water temperatures are the warmest of the season right now. So, Sabrina, it might be tropical depression. I don't know. I haven't checked in the last few minutes. We'll take a look. But there you go. That's what it looks like. It's kind of getting that look. The spin. There's a convection, unorganized, but going to bring a lot of rain to Jamaica, Hispaniola. Maybe some will stretch towards Puerto Rico. But it's coming together, and it's going to be heading towards the Gulf as a hurricane. Okay, pretty confident about that. Okay, Casey, thank you. Emily from Grand Cayman. Oh boy. Connie from Melbourne. Used to be called Ogalley. Gabriel from Fort Lauderdale. Uh-oh. Karen's going to Big Pine Key. Somebody wants to know, can it shift east and hit Florida? Well, the Florida Panhandle sticks out pretty far west. What's up, Miss Teresa? How's it going? All right, so here's the latest tracks. There you go. Boom. Actually, the Florida Panhandle is in the 5-day cone. So, yeah, officially, Florida's in the cone. I always kind of smirk a little bit because the Florida Panhandle and the Florida Peninsula seem like two different areas. Right, Katie? But there it is. All right, so we're going to get a new update about 10. Hey, listen, one thing that's always weird at the end of hurricane season is this. Everything moves up an hour. That means the 12Z models are now out at 10:30, 11. The NHC now updates at 10 a.m. Eastern, not 11 a.m. Eastern anymore. Everything shifts with the time change. So I always get caught off guard because it's like, oh, models are running. So with Lacucci still in flood stage, Melanie. That's just crazy. I know, man. Lori, retired lineman's wife. What's up, Chris? That's the latest track. So this is the cone. Obviously we've talked about it a ton this year, but the cone is anywhere that the eye could go, not the impact zone. The impacts will spread far outside the eye. So if you're wondering why Keys might get some watches and warnings, is because storm feeder bands are going to rotate outside of that cone into lower Florida. So we could see some nasty weather for lower Florida as this thing passes by Wednesday. So remember, feeder bands will be rotating around whatever happens, and they'll be strong. We could see some strong storms. Wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't see some tornado watches up, even if this thing doesn't make a direct hit. Farther west it goes, less impacts. Farther east it goes, more impacts. And then what's it do up here? Well, a lot of models show a weaken. Notice the hurricane now, the NHC is going deeper. Yesterday it didn't go deeper. So my big question always has been, how much will it weaken if it's strong coming off of Cuba? The waters are still pretty warm in the middle part of the Gulf. Let's take a look at the latest temperatures here on Clystron 9. But we still got 81 and 80 south of Louisiana. So, other than wind shear, the water temperatures really aren't that cold. We have a very warm loop current here in the middle part of the Gulf right here. And that'll continue to keep this thing. Some of the models have this thing getting stronger. I'll show you. So not until it passes Tampa Bay area north, it starts to weaken. So we got to just keep extra alert on this. You don't want this thing to continue going northbound and not really weaken and kind of sneak up on everybody. It shouldn't be strengthening by landfall. It should be weakening by landfall. But how fast will it weaken by landfall? And obviously the NHC now is making it a hurricane deeper than it did yesterday. Yesterday they had it only a hurricane a little bit after Cuba. Now they're showing a hurricane way up into the middle part of the Gulf, right here. There you go. And timing is pretty much slowed down a little bit. If this thing slows down and turns, could bring some lingering weather towards Saturday. But if you had any impacts in the Keys, they would start probably Wednesday. Maybe some bands getting there late Tuesday night, but more than likely Wednesday through early morning Wednesday we'll start seeing bandings. But I'm going to show you all the models and what's cooking with that. Now, the earliest you can start seeing tropical storm force winds, there you go. See, Tuesday 8 p.m. almost reaching the Keys. So Tuesday night you might start seeing a feeder band. Notice that they got part of Florida covered. That's because we could still see some storms rotating around wherever this thing ends up. So we could still see some tropical storm force winds across parts of Florida Peninsula, lower south side, when we get these bands. Farther west this thing goes, the less likelihood, but we could still see some bands all the way up to Florida Peninsula on the coastline here, as our bands will be touching. So again, we don't focus on that cone so much now. Not once have I compared this to Milton or Helene, okay? But we always say every storm's different with impacts, And we can see tropical storm force winds up to Wednesday, 8 p.m. up in the Panhandle on Thursday. So there you go. I mean, it's a good idea. This is a good map. It kind of shows you, really? Yeah, something's coming. We could see some feeder bands, and that's what brings the tropical storm. Remember with Milton, the feeder bands, the storm was way over in the Gulf, and we had feeder bands on the east coast of Florida with those tornadoes. So we're going to be watching for that. We got a tremendous amount of wind shear. We have a strong upper level high. We got these bands are going to be rotating around our system. So we're going to have a lot of instability across the lower Florida. And we have a lot of daytime heating occurring right now too, which brings up the dry pockets. So definitely could see some supercells popping like we did with Milton, to watch. You always watch for tornadoes with feeder bands. So that'll be something we watch in the lower part of Florida late Tuesday into Wednesday. Rainfall maps, they're going to bounce all around, but it's kind of showing you the idea that there's going to be some rain. This is through Saturday morning. We got an inch plus for a lot of people. We got 2 inches, 3 inches. Unfortunately, we got 2 to 3 inches around that Withlacoochee area. I don't know what 2 or 3 inches might do there, but still flooding up that way. It all depends on the track. If it goes farther west, it'll be less rain. If it goes farther east, it'll be more rain. But I like this graphic because it just kind of shows you rainfall through the week. It's going to rain somewhere. Somebody's going to get something. And you can kind of see it goes some of that moisture because that frontal line, it's going to pull it up eventually. Maybe frontal line. I don't know. There's a high pressure blocking. But anyway, there you can see the juice is going to go up into Georgia and some into South Carolina. A little bit in Alabama. But that's your rainfall through Saturday morning this week, next 5 days. So somebody's going to get something. It's pretty sunny out there right now. So I don't even remember what rain looks like. Well, anybody asks about the winds, the wind map I just posted is good. It kind of gives you the idea who might get tropical storm force winds. And if they think this is a wide system, we could see tropical storm watches on the Florida west coast because of the width of the storm. It's going to be curious to see if they put any across the Florida Peninsula, minus the Keys. So thank you, Holly Moore. It's a TD now, Kristen. Okay, didn't know that. Well, we'll be updating that. TD, it's going to be a storm soon, so. All right, cool. TD. Thank you, Jeff. All right, so rainfall's coming. Let's see where it's going. Here's the latest 12Z spaghetti models. These are on Tropical Tidbits. We always start out there. All right, so high confidence here that we're going to see this thing go northwest. It's a big high pressure system. You probably felt it. My hurricane heat comment yesterday was because there's always an intense heat over Florida when we have a storm brewing. Always. Hurricane heat. This one might become a pretty strong hurricane. There are models showing this being more than a Cat 1. I'll show you. For some reason, hurricane heat is real. So, Brian, how's sunrise go? Oh, somebody else with sunrise. Sharon. Oh, there's another dude. Hey, what's up, Bobby? The pink line, nobody knows. The pink line, that's what you call an outlier. Remember, though, a lot of this is going to be weakening, okay? So we don't, it's going to be something to watch. It's just, if it's a Cat 2 down here, it's probably likely not going to be a Cat 2 up here. Still could be a rainmaker with storms, yeah, but it is going to weaken. Notice, though, we're starting to see a little more zigzag here. Starting to do that again. We're starting to see more consensus models with that little zigzag. The UK and the Euro is going way east or west. If you read the NHC discussion, all they do is quote models, and they're quoting the Euro and the UK is going more west, and they're pulling the official track with that. Whether or not they bend the track back east, we'll see. But with the UK and the Euro going farther to the west, it's going to make the NHC cone kind of do the same thing. All right. But again, I posted some other stuff I'm going to show you here in a minute about surge and other things. But notice, when we had impacts for where I live, when we had skirts like Ada and other storms, it was closer. The farther this thing goes to the west, we have a further distance here. Now, down here is a little different story, obviously, because the Keys is going to be a lot closer. So we'll keep an eye on that. But the farther this thing goes west, the chances of Ada-style surges and what we've seen in the past become less and less. Now, there are some models still going to the east. I'll show you. Intensity-wise, these are your latest 12Zs. Now, notice the black line is the official line right here. That's the NHC. We still have several increasing above the NHC here, but then they all come back down to here on day 5, 120 hours out. So most of the modeling is suggesting about the same as what the NHC is suggesting on day 5, but many are above that on a couple of days leading up to it. So we might see a stronger system deeper into the Gulf, what I'm getting at. And that could build a little more surge to the north. That's one thing we got to, always caution is if this thing weakens at landfall, if it's a stronger system as it approaches, it's going to be pushing a lot more wind. So we'll keep an eye on this, but there are models ahead of the intensity of the National Hurricane Center. The black line is very, very clustered here around 72 hours, but then we start to see more continue up and the NHC starts going down. And this is because of the UK and some other models is doing that. So the hurricane models typically are a little better at intensity predictions. So here are some latest ensembles. GFS ensembles. The black line is the average of all of the ensembles. So we have some to the east, some to the west. Notice stronger to the west. Makes sense. Waters are warmer to the west. But we still have some pretty close to that Florida east coast. And we do have Louis that just showed up. So I think Louis missed everybody. Did you have a good trip? Let me see your nails. Where'd your nails go, buddy? Look, you got new nails cut. Did you like getting your nails cut? Was it like the spa? All right, so he got his left on. All right, so there's your latest GFS. These are on weathernerds.org. I have them linked on the site and on the app. Basically showing you that trend to the northwest. Couple outliers going off. Notice the GFS, though. Pretty much everything's pushing that way. A lot of them are showing a weakening before landfall. But, again, every storm's different. So we just got to keep it real and show you all the models. So, again, anything closer to the East Coast significantly brings up the chances for some sort of impacts, whether it be a little more surge, a little more feeder bands, but farther west, less, farther east, more. Now the Euro, which is totally opposite, is completely showing no development and going due west. So the Euro has been wrong like 8 out of 10 times this season, it seems like. maybe 9 out of 10 times. I don't know. It's always had a west bias. It's always had a weak bias. But that's the latest euro. I don't know. So if they take the euro out of the NHC cone, it'll probably shift back east a little bit. But there you go. If you're curious about the euro, it's hardly even showing any landfall. Other ensembles, these are your CMC Canadian models. No, they got a couple of them going towards Florida, a couple of them bending back a little bit. Notice most of them doing a little zigzag. So pressure readings are really cool on these maps from Tropical Tidbits because, yellow's in the 990 to 1,000 range. That would be possible hurricane, tropical storm range. More than likely stronger tropical storm, but you can see a couple of them maintained. So there you go. I posted this earlier. I know it's confusing as all get out, but it's a pretty cool map. Tummerberg's website. I love it because you can plot all the different models and change the colors on your own. If you want to do that, it's on my site here, ensemble means right here. Click on that, and you can do that